Good evening and welcome to Universal Spiritualism. I'm Veronica Jenkins and I'm host. I'm recognizing that Ray on this here. Let's sort that out. There we are. Sorry. I have set up a backup with the Wi-Fi and the signals. Good again. Okay, so without further ado, I will bring on Niko. He has, and it will be Noah, who are his guides and inspirers, that will be speaking through him. So, good evening.
Greetings to you, my dear one. Much gratitude, my dear, for once more providing us this opportunity to be heard. And greetings to all who have joined and who are listening. A humble gratitude for each of you, for your openness, curiosity, and presence today, my dear ones. For many of you have listened to our words previously, loving reminders that you are indeed essence, gentle redirection, if you will, toward your own remembrance, your own reawakening. Allow us to take a moment, my dear ones, to also remind you that you are human. And to not only recognize your humanness, but to embrace your imperfections. For they are not how you perceive them to be, my dear ones. As each of your essences are as light refracting through a prism. It's a radiant, luminous, expansive, parallel versions all across time and dimensions. Each ray of light which has been transmitted through that very prism reflects back into source, my dear ones, through your highest essence into your oversoul to the Creator. So when one of you perceives they are struggling, when one of you has quarreled with a loved one, and though even as your loved one has attempted to lighten the words, the experience, to come close, and you are adamant, continue to be annoyed, irritated. Recognize that for what it is, my dear ones. Even your intentional words, even the words that you did not focus on, nor its ability to cause pain. Your actions and your intent, my dear ones, are what reverberates through this prism. So all versions, my dear ones, are learning. all highest essences, all over souls, all leading back to the learning of the Creator. And if, my dear ones, you recognize that your physical day continues and you are still irritated, yet softer, but irritation is still present, recognize that that is occurring, my dear ones. For it is being shared more than you realize. Even one simple day, even a few words, even the unsettling, discomfort of irritation is learned from. So it is not, my dear ones, that you are imperfect, that you question yourselves if I am beginning to enlighten, beginning to recognize that I am essence. Why do I continue to resort back to the human self? For if it was not because of your experience within your human selves, my dear ones, you would not remember. And as each of you has deeply undergone this belief that you are human, that you believe you reside deep within the realms of this human reality, notice and pause for a moment how profound your remembrance truly is when it does occur, my dear ones. So indeed, continue to navigate your awareness to your own alignment, your own essence, your own brightness, radiance of source. But do so with acknowledging where you are remembering this from. Which realm? Which version of you? With its imperfections, confusion, doubts, and fears. For when one releases this indecisiveness, this quarrel within themselves, if you will, one notices the pathway to one's own alignment is always clear. It is always vast. It is always purposeful. It is always all loving. And your human experiences, your imperfections, your quarrels, your doubts, are what allows this pathway to enlightenment, to illuminate with the specific hues of your world. So you, within your human identity, my dear ones, are also providing colors, illumination, personality, if you will, upon your own spiritual pathway, which is also shared instantaneously to all versions of you. So do not, my dear ones, be so quick, so eager to enlighten fully. For enlightenment, my dear ones, first becomes notable when you accept yourself fully. not only within your human self version, but in all parallel versions. I thank you, my dear one.
Thank you. And as always, I'll start off with a few hellos. So good evening, Angel. Hi, Dulce, Bernadette, Justin, June, Cindy, Karen, Deborah, Margaret, and Cindy. So I'm going to change the format a little bit this week because usually I go straight over to questions from our viewers. But as Noah brought up about awareness and awakening, I thought it may be useful for people new to awakening and the language around the higher self, etc., if we could ask Noah about things to do with awakening. So if I can start with asking, Noah, could you tell us what is the higher self, please?
The highest essence, my dear, is you. Understand, my dear ones. As mentioned earlier, there are most certainly other parallel versions of same essence, same shared breath. Navigating through their own realities and their own human identities and non-human identities. But as it is not the focus of importance on the physical form, as it is thy breath, so too, my dear ones, is the importance not on the specific incarnations this one source is experiencing, but to return awareness to that one source, your one pulse, your one true identity, my dear ones. A version of you closest to the Creator, if you will. Your own inner library, if you will, where all memories, stored knowledge, wisdom of emotions, return to awareness, enlightenment. Through every incarnation ever lived and shall be lived is already stored within your oversoul, your true essence, your being of all beings, if you will, my dear ones. But as each reflects a projection, a portion, if you will, of your true selves, aligned to your physical reality as you are aware, residing within your own expansive field of energy that surrounds your physical form. As a remembrance that no essence is truly alone, my dear ones. There is your highest essence, the one who assists with navigating each of your physical journeys. So your highest essence, my dear ones, is the one who possesses this divine choreographed map, if you will, of this physical journey you are each undertaking at this current time. Other essences, my dear ones, who are assisting you through love, honor, respect, are also providing assistance as co-navigators, if you will, for your highest essence. informs them of the missteps which are about to occur. But through your physical realm, the alignment wavers, and these wonderful essences who are assisting redirect your course to alignment, to your own alignment, in order to sustain this true purpose, navigating through this physical realm. These are essences also assisting you in other realities. Perhaps prior family, friends, true loved ones. Perhaps celestial beings. Perhaps others who have not incarnated. The importance is not of their identity, but sensing their presence near. As you possess the ability to sense your own energetic field, so too are you privy to recognize their energetic signature, for it all resides within the same energetic expanse, my dear ones. So your highest essence is the observer, if you will, making certain your alignment is always within your highest good. What is awareness, you ask, my dear? Awakening, enlightenment. It is remembrance, my dear ones. Not only to remember that you are an essence, but to also remember the intricacies of each one's physical journey. It is not a singular event in time. It is shared. Even your physical journey is not your own. It is the projection of your highest essence, your true self, the core being of you. And even your doubts, your confusion, and your fears are being shared across the vast parallel realities of shared journeys through other dimensions and timelines, all creating growth for the one essence. Even your galactic essence is, my dear ones. And indeed, each of you do possess an incarnation within a different galaxy, reality, dimension. But even that, my dear one, constitutes the same exact essence, the same shared breath, the same overlapping energetic expanse connected to your physical form as well as theirs. This is true awakening, my dear one. For one is not opening their physical eyes to see. One is allowing the lens of their essence to open once more, so it can be perceived, understood, learned, felt, and experienced through each physical incarnation, each parallel version. So when one expresses this powerful desire to learn, this inner yearning, this desire, this pull to continue, where one resonates with specific mentors or others speaking the same language, if you will. This is because, my dear ones, it is meant for this parallel version to remember, to view your physical incarnation through the lens of your essence. And I assure you, it is not because you are curious. It is not because you decided to be rebellious and oppose family and friends and conditioning of the mind you have grown accustomed to believe was your truth. It is because, as mentioned, each parallel version, your highest essence, your core being, are all sending guidance, reminders, signals, synchronicity to assist you with your own alignment to once more awaken. For as you do, you assist your other parallel versions, and as they do, they are assisting you. Shared breath, shared essence, shared energetic expanse. I thank you, my dear one. I trust in this offered clarity.
Thank you. Jolt's asking, but do those other energies speak out loud, able to be recorded for others to hear?
Energies, my dear. I am perceiving that your question pertains to apparitions, orbs that remain in your realm. Are these the energetic spirits, my dear, which you are referring to? For the essence is within, my dear. The essence is within your own energetic, expansive field, my dear, are precisely that, energetic vibrations. So though indeed, my dear, these energetic essences provide a sound, if you will, your human ears, my dear, cannot comprehend that sound as it is unknown to your realm. So your physical mind, my dear, must adapt and creates an illusion of what it hears, if you will, in order to rationalize. And by doing so, my dear, it retracts information stored within the subconscious vault in order to identify sound, which is not audible in your realm. So rather than hearing with the human ears, my dear, you hear with your essence. All essence is connected within this energetic frequency. But even as, my dear, your own energetic expanse is attached to your physical form, my dear, when in fact, this physical journey you are navigating upon comes to a close, my dear, and the physical form falls away. It is this expansiveness of your energetic field, my dear, which remains within your reality. This one reality you are aware of. It waits patiently, my dear, until there is another form to attach itself to. just as you, my dear, are unable to view through your physical form, through your physical eyes, energy, air, expansiveness, all are perceived as invisible to your human eye, your human mind, your human perception. So does the same, my dear, relate to your expansive, energetic field, your essence. Though your brain cannot perceive that it remains, it does, my dear. And this is how apparitions, orbs, and what those in your realm refer to with fear as ghosts appear, my dear, from time to time. And yet, even those projections, if you will, my dear, do not possess sound. As you are aware, my dear, your sound in your realm derives from the human form. The energy of sound, my dear, originates within that auric expanse. But it is how the human form, my dear, transfers pure energy into audible sound. So if that projection one encounters within their realm is perceived as being witnessed even by more than one, my dear, then how is it, my dear, that those who are witnessing can also hear dialogue from that projection? Viewed as a hologram, my dear. One views a hologram, but there is no sound. But as one, my dear, creates motion pictures in your realm, and they are capturing the image on film, there is also no sound, my dear. It overlaps through sound. Just as, my dear, these projections, these experiences, these visitations that one may be privy to encounter along their physical course, my dear, is a projection through sight and sound, through your own consciousness, my dear. For once more, the humblest truth I may be able to offer your realm, my dear, is that communication, my dear, never occurs between human and human. That is the most gravest misconception of all in your realm. All communication, my dear, always consists through essence to essence. So even viewing these holograms, if you will, my dear, the projection is intended for your essence. The perception is of human form. And yet it is your essence, my dear, who has already fused the two for your understanding, the visual as well as the audio. I thank you, my dear.
Thank you, Noah. Just to explain this a little bit further, because I did have a discussion with Jots before we came live. She sent me a video of her in her bed, and it was a 4:30 in the morning. She was asleep but aware of it, so there's a question of out-of-body experience there. But the recording has her voice and her grandfather, who has passed, voice on the actual video recording, having a discussion. So she was trying to understand what had happened in that situation.
Indeed, my dear one. Once more, my dear, you mentioned this occurrence was being offered during the sleep state within her bedroom, my dear. Recognize, my dear one, how this is the moment where the conscious mind truly relaxes. When the subconscious is active, my dear, the intuitive mind is afforded the portal, the passageway, my dear, to the essence. And once more, my dear, it is not the communication occurred to your physical form. Notice, my dear, if your active mind, your conscious mind, was engrossed within your daily activities, my dear, navigating your automobile, focusing on the road in hand as you were listening to melodies playing, my dear, and your conscious mind was overlapping with details and sensory output of your realm. Do you perceive, my dear, that you are in tune to your essence at that precise moment? Or are you much more derailed by this human experience? So first, my dear, it is important to notice when exactly these activities occur and where your conscious mind is at. Acceptance, my dear. Acceptance is what the mind makes it, my dear. You mentioned there was recordings of the essence you recall as your father through your devices, my dear. Were you conscious? Were you fully conscious, my dear? Or were you asleep? Where was your conscious mind, my dear? And how was it being perceived by the intuitiveness, my dear, of your essence? Were they your words, my dear, through his voice? Recognize, my dear, that even that is a possibility. As you were in awe of what you were hearing. There is many possibilities, my dear. And yet, in order to truly recognize the answers, one must first return their awareness to their conscious mind. And in doing so, my dear, the experiences does not occur as gentle and loving as it has. So this is where the intellects in your realm often thrive, but are often quite misled. For it takes the intellect, the ability to navigate through the conscious mind and the conscious mind alone in order to rationalize, to intellectualize, to find reason. And yet, my dear, this is the only barrier, if you will, of true connection to essence. It limits your perception, it limits your reality, your understanding, and it places you firmly within this human experience. That is why, my dear, when the conscious mind is at rest, even as you are, my dear, navigating along the course of your journey within your automobile, my dear, and you are not focusing as intently, and your conscious mind drifts to the soft melodies of music. It is absorbing, my dear. You are entering the intuitive states, conscious mind. You are releasing the ego's grip, my dear, and this is where communication your consciousness from physical form to your own essence as essence occurs. So as you are resting within the bedroom, my dear, and you sense essence near, this is quite accurate, my dear. For essence is pressure, is it not? Essence is everywhere, is it not? How can one feel the gentle breeze of air that they cannot sense the presence of essence near? Is this not the same, my dear? It is all energy. And yes, my dear, the remaining question which you shall ponder is how did the essence you recall as your father become audible on your devices? Indeed, my dear, but also recognize, my dear, you were not observing. You were not diligently focusing with the conscious mind when it occurred. Otherwise, my dear, it would not have. Allow this phenomenon as you see, my dear, as you perceive it to be, to offer you a reminder, my dear, that the essence you recall as your father is very much alive and present within your own auric expanse, my dear, your energetic field, my dear, just as you are in his. And as mentioned earlier, my dear, if his physical form ceased its own physical journey, why would one perceive that his aura, energetic essence, feel, presence is not still within your reality? So if his expansive field, my dear, is still very much alive and present in your realm, merely awaiting for the new vessel to attach to, why, my dear, does it deem so impossible that connection can be made, that his presence is within your bedroom, that you sense him near? And that perhaps, my dear, even through your voice, the projection of his was captured along your recordings, my dear, even as your conscious mind did not record it itself. Many possibilities, my dear. Hence the journey. Through all parallel expressions, my dear, there is never one possibility for even deliberating this very set conversation, my dear. Notice how we can branch off into multiple possibilities, multiple answers, none definitive. Also a reflection of your own essence, multiple, radiant, expansive. There is never one answer, my dear. It is merely your perception of it. I trust, my dear, that has offered more clarity. I thank you, my dear one.
Thank you. She did say she was conscious and is aware of alternate realities, etc. And she will ponder. So thank you, Noah. Thank you. There was a question from, Cindy. How do we find our purpose in this life?
Yes, my dear. You are already aware of what your purpose is, my dear. The question is not what it is. The question is, my dear, does it coincide with your ego's desire of purpose? This is where, my dear, many become uncertain. When many do not listen, follow the guidance of their intuition. When many do not follow their heart. When many rely on the intellect, on the ego's desire. Or it compares to another. Or it wishes for what the other possesses. Or it seeks status, accolades. Or it is ruled by identity, my dear. By your title. By this role you play in your realm. So notice first, my dear, the answer to this one simple question. How do you perceive yourself within this physical incarnation you are aware of? Does one immediately, my dear, respond to that question with their title, their name, their role, their perceived importance, not only as an outward projection to your realm, but to all the relationships that you are intertwined with? Is that how one, my dear, perceives who they are? For if they do, my dear, will they not also be seeking for the true purpose through the lens of that same reflection? My advice, my dear, would be to first recognize how to release the need for identity in your realm. Recognize, my dear, that even your titles, your labels, your roles, these do not define you, my dear. They're merely one aspect of one parallel reality. Never intended, my dear, to become your sole identity. So when one removes that, my dear, from their awareness, and they do not rely as heavily to the ego for guidance, for affliction, for what it deems to be the purpose. When the ego, my dear, is attempting to create a purpose, does it not parlay this purpose with the acceptance of all within your physical life, my dear? When one seems lost and cannot truly locate this purpose, my dear, are they not also noticing, pondering how their loved ones, my dear, would react? This is why, my dear, so many in your realm continue to conform with what their loved ones expect of them and are cast aside almost effortlessly when they stand up to their own truth and decide to follow their heart. They are accused. They become rebels in the eyes of the ones that love them, even feared, misjudged, misunderstood. So as this, my dear, continues to spread across your realm, and many are becoming aware of it, notice how the experience of others, my dear, silences their own voice. Once more, a voice silenced by their titles, roles, false identities. So, my dear, remember you are essence first. Listen to your heart, follow the guidance. And within that silence, my dear, through that remembrance, my dear, you will recall your true purpose. And as you recall it, my dear, you will experience the strength, the courage of the many essences assisting you, as well as the many essences within those parallel realities, my dear, all reaching out to you to offer support, courage, guidance. So one truly, my dear, finds their identity, their purpose, their remembrance, they also realize, my dear, that they are not alone, and they are much more courageous than the ego, the human perception, allowed them to believe. That is how one finds their purpose, my dear, by first finding their true self. I thank you, my dear one.
And thank you. And a follow-on question for myself from that. So what role does trust play in spiritual growth, please?
My dear, your question appears to be coming reversed, my dear. Trust within spiritual growth does not pertain to trusting spirit. It does not pertain to trusting the remembrance of your essence. It does not equate to trusting that, in fact, there are parallel versions existing simultaneously. Trust, my dear, is returned to you, to the one in physical form, to the one navigating through a realm of illusion, misinterpretations, excessive ego abuse, if you will, power, fame, intentional fear instilled in order once more to restore power. Trust, my dear ones, that your realm is not real. Trust, my dear ones, it is an illusion in order for you to allow your essence to believe it is experiencing a human reality. Trust that judgment, racism, hatred, evil, pain, fear does not exist beyond the word which describes it. And once, my dear, one begins to perceive their reality differently, one trusts that they are essence. They trust they are not that physical identity. So when one trusts that they are able to view the truth in a realm where the truth is hidden, and one begins to remember, my dear, it takes the first trust in your realm to trust the remembrance. Is that clear to you, my dear?
Thank you. And unfortunately, it's that time of night where we need to be starting to pull things together. So Before I hand over to you, I do want to say to Melissa, we'll be sending you a lot of healing for your back, okay? So if I can hand over to Noah for your final words, please.
Indeed, my dear one, much gratitude once more. And to all who have joined in our listening, allow us to leave you each with that word of trust. Echoing our earlier sentiments, my dear ones, trust that each moment of your passing days is intentional. Each moment, your ego flared. Each moment, you responded in arguments, non-loving dialogue. Each time, you perceive that you experience pain. Each time, you were worried and confused of direction. Each time, you attempted to persuade your loved ones to redirect their course of their journey, presuming your interpretation was clearer. Each time you sat in silence and wept. Trust that every moment of every day is intentional. Trust that you are not the only one experiencing that moment. That each parallel version is also glimpsing as you are with their realities, and you perceive it as sudden knowings, memory recalled from unknown. Trust that there is indeed an interconnectedness which has never ceased, and that interconnectedness still resides within each of your energetic expanse. And allow that trust to shift your gaze for the perception of your realm, and most importantly, how you view yourself. You are not your title you bear. You are your breath. Remember, my dear ones, you may all possess different titles, roles, perceived importance, identities, material gains, or powerful relationships of love. But all which you have acquired, which you have recognized, which you perceive identifies you, arrive after your breath and fade before your final breath. So if the breath, my dear ones, serves as your bookends, if you will, why is it so difficult to recognize that the breath is and always has been your one and only true identity? Much honor and respect to each. I thank you, my dear one.
Thank you so much. And while Niko returns from his trance, I'll just fill you in with what's happening tomorrow on online live psychic readings. At 10 o'clock, we have Amanda with readings as usual on Monday morning. We've then got Sheila at 3:30, got Lynn with ribbon readings at 5 o'clock. You've got healing with myself at 6 o'clock. And I'll be doing some readings myself at 7 o'clock. And if you would like some trance evidential mediums with Niko, he's back again on Tuesday at 9 o'clock. So you're welcome to join us then. So every day we have healing at 6 o'clock, and we've got readings on every day as well. So you're welcome to join us. If you want notification of those readings or a schedule for the week and a few extra bits and bobs, then do become a subscriber. It's £1 a month to become a subscriber, so you may as well just add yourself on there. And if you want a daily list of events, then that's £3.49 a month, and you just go to my profile page, Veronica Jenkins, and you get all of these schedules, you get all of the lives, etc., and notifications on there. Okay. Hi, Niko.
Hi, everybody.
Lovely evening.
Thanks.
Okay, then, everyone. Thank you, and we will see you, or Niko will see you on Tuesday at 9 o'clock. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining.